So AnnieCannons has really accomplished a ton this year. What are some of the things that you would say you're most proud of as CEO?
Yeah, it's been a really big year. It's been really exciting. We've transitioned into a lot more programming that's really focused on an individual's career readiness. So we're still focusing on our technical training. We're still focusing on making sure that people have the really practical skills they need to succeed in the tech industry. But we realized that we weren't doing enough to prepare people for getting into that entry-level job. And so we really invested a lot in our internship program. So we launched that in April. It graduated in October, so pretty recently. It was very exciting. And really what we tried to infuse into that program was really structured support for individuals around, setting career goals and career planning. And one of the things I'm really excited about is it's opened the door to a lot more conversations with companies who want to hire our graduates. So before, instead of focusing a lot on, people getting a lot of work experience at AnnieCannons, we've coupled that now with that work experience plus external connections to tech companies.
I think when I reflect, and you've heard me talk about this before, I think about the organization as sort of a rocket ship that spent a certain amount of time just getting into orbit, and it took an incredible amount of work and fire. I remember in my very first board meeting how impressed I was with how everything was being run. But I also see the organization having hit at kind of an orbit stage where we are expanding our vision, expanding our mission, and really getting deeper into how we prepare and enable and empower our graduates to not just get some skills, right, but a much more holistic approach of helping them to be successful in tech, in their careers, and as professionals. And so a lot of what I'm excited about going into the future has to do with that journey and the transition that you've really led the organization in making over the past year or so. And I think when I think about that specifically, it really ties into some of those relationships with companies. Not just for the relationship's sake, but really thinking about how we are equipping our graduates, right, in a well-rounded way to be prepared, to provide value, and to be really comfortable in those environments as engineers, as professionals, and being able to provide them with some of the resources and networks to actually make that happen.
One of the other things that I'm really excited about is for a long time we've been focused specifically on software engineering. And I think one of the things that you've pointed out is really what we're so focused on is giving people the chance to choose their own career path and have that agency to say, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what really lights my fire when I think about building my own career. And so now in our new training program model, we're giving people the option to go on different tracks. So right now we're still focused on software engineering, but moving forward, being able to build those tracks in product management, in data science, in design, and some of the things that our graduates have been coming to us and saying, I really like tech adjacent work, whereas some people are saying, I really love back-end development, and I really love building out these algorithms, or just, please come look at my code. So just sort of that full spectrum of people who bring, their creativity, bring their intellect, but also want to have these different options to be able to say, I may start down this engineering path, but then find out, being a product manager is really where I'm supposed to be. So I think that's another exciting thing that, with this year and with a lot of the transition that's come and with a lot of the support externally and internally, we've been able to start to look at learning pathways and how we can expand those over time.
And that really resonates with me. I mean, even when I look at us, you as someone who is an actual engineer, I went to school for it, but never worked in it.
Yeah.
So I work in tech as a non-technical person, and tech is just so vast. A lot of these industries are so vast, and I love that we are expanding our offerings to be able to provide people with more optionality in the path that they choose to take based on where they see alignment. And I'll also say that sometimes it's not just about seeing it from the beginning. Sometimes you may get trained as one thing, and then get in the environment and realize that there are other passions that are awakened by other parts of the business.
Yeah, I think there have been a number of times when I've been talking to one of our graduates or one of our students, and they were like, I didn't know this was a job. I didn't know I could get paid to do this particular kind of work, or to use this as the stepping stone to get to this other thing that I think is more interesting. So, yeah.
I think that's huge, especially because when you think about the communities that we serve, overwhelmingly, and this again speaks very personally to my background, and a big part of the reason why I wanted to get involved with AnnieCannons. Coming from backgrounds where the full spectrum of opportunities is just not known to them. It wasn't known to me. I mean, everywhere I've worked in the past 10 years is a company that did not exist. And many other roles that I've had, or the roles of my peers, are roles I was not aware of until I was much older. And so I think us being able to, again, provide this tracking early on as they're coming into this space is very helpful. Because like you said, they just may not even know that the opportunities exist. And so that's why the partnerships that we create is so important, to make sure that we can provide those options and that education.
Yeah. And I think one thing that we've learned over the past several years is that people going through our programs have such incredible ideas for how technology can solve problems that aren't being addressed yet. And so one thing that I'm really excited about is next year continuing to build one of the platforms that we've created within AnnieCannons called Resourceful, that's really about helping individuals, survivors who are looking for support and looking for services, be able to better connect with them. Because you'd think that would be such a straightforward thing to do, but it can be so complicated, and people face so many obstacles just getting help that's already out there. They may not be eligible, they may have to retell their story over and over again, and they may show up and then be told, sorry, we're at capacity. And so how can we use technology, and how can we use the insights that people have, both from their experiences and their expertise as developers, to build something that's secure and user-friendly and really gets communities engaged in solving this problem. And so I'm excited to see how continuing to use that tool as something that is in the classroom that people are working on to learn software skills, but it's also something that we're able to contribute to the community and continue that conversation around, like, who's building our tech? How is the tech ecosystem going to continue to grow to include more voices?
I think that related to that statement, one of the areas where our graduates bring such unique value to companies is that they really have a unique perspective that can help either solve or just think about problems in a very different way than a lot of the talent that is currently in a lot of these companies. And our graduates look much more like the majority of the country, the majority of the world, than a lot of the folks who enumerate on these problems within companies. And I think that that's something that, as I'm thinking about, why would a corporation want to partner with us? That value, that perspective is a huge part, in addition to the skills that we're providing them with, that make them such an asset, wherever they go.